Hello everybody, this is Q&A with Luna, episode 1, and this is the first question, obviously, and it's from a friend of mine. When did you start learning about the details of your compatibility and how? It's gonna be a long story because compatibility/incompatibility has been a lifelong theme of mine because I was born into a family that I'm very, very, very incompatible with. And I think in early stages of my life, the way I assessed compatibility was just desperately trying to find someone who can understand me. I mean, it is still a core part of how I assess compatibility, but it wasn't that conscious. I mean, I was a kid, but it's hugely based on being understood. And through lots of friendships and romantic failures, I wouldn't say all of them are relationships, but failures, trial and errors, I figured out how to assess compatibility in a way that's quite effective. And there are a few things that I consider critical, essential when it comes to compatibility assessment. Number 1, attachment styles. If you are in a relationship, especially a romantic one, with someone whose attachment style is opposing yours, it's going to be very difficult because it's going to trigger a lot of anxiety and suffocation. It's like, the classic avoidant anxious stance. No, it's not going to be fun. If you have disorganized attachment style, you have to find someone who is very, very secure and who can let you initiate closeness and let you leave without trying to cling you. The best way to heal this is probably to just start with someone who's, a therapist, because it's much less likely that the other person will be super triggered by you because they are a therapist. They're there to heal attachment trauma for you, with you. And attachment styles. And number 2, values. A lot of times, when we are having conflicts over and over again, it's because we have opposing values, incompatible values. For example, someone who values, whose core value is privacy, is in a relationship with a public figure. Not a good relationship to be in. And another typical example is if you're a vegan and you're dating a meat eater. Yeah. And political values, like if you value sovereignty and you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't really question the government. And values. And there's just so many examples. I'm kind of lost about how to give examples here because there are just too many. Autonomy versus connection. Like, that's a personal freedom versus closeness. There's like tons of examples of value conflicts. And value conflict is one of the main reasons why people separate and why relationship fails. So, attachment style, value, desires, and needs. I put them in the same category because when it comes to relationship compatibility and expansion, they are basically the same. Because you cannot need a need and unwant a desire. And if the desires and needs are incompatible, like one person needs a lot of closeness and intimacy and the other person is like, I don't want to spend time with you at home all day long. It's like that type of scenarios. It's gonna make the relationship very difficult. And needs. Yeah, the most obvious conflict when it comes to desires and needs are, I think the most obvious example is probably just autonomy versus freedom. Autonomy slash freedom versus connection and closeness. Yeah. Stages, and I think the next point I would say is developmental stages. I'm not talking about psychological developmental stages, but that can be part of it. Like, for example, if you are very developed in like relationship intelligence or emotional intelligence, and the other person is like just starting to learn about it, it's gonna be very out of balance or not harmonious, because one person will end up teaching the other person a lot, and it's gonna be like a mentorship instead of a partnership. Yeah, I'm talking about romantic relationship here. In mentorship or teacher-student relationship, that's fine. What else? I think that's the most important things when it comes to assessing compatibility here. Yeah. Oh, and all of these points I just said, they are based on self-awareness. So you need to be very self-aware in order to assess compatibility accurately, and you need to directly work with attractions, because attractions, especially strong attractions, will distort your capacity to see reality. I think that's very obvious, everybody knows that. And watch out for overlay addiction as well. Yeah, overlay addiction is basically using illusion to cope with unbearable reality. And if you're very, very desperate for something like belonging, it's very tempting to see someone having some similarities with you and just immediately just put over that illusion overlay over that person and be like, oh, I'm in, like, this person is so compatible with me, I'm in, like, in love with this person, blah 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 blah, when in fact they're not. Yeah. And yes, it's just critical to develop self-awareness. And self-awareness is not easy to develop because we need to face a lot of unsavory truths about ourselves, and that will trigger a lot of shame and fear. But if you are able to work through those triggers, the result of self-awareness and the benefit self-awareness will make that process very worth it. Yeah, I think that's it for today, for answering this question. I hope this video will help, because I'm not very good at talking to the camera on my own with no one, like with no one interacting with me. So I hope this is understandable. Yeah. So see you in the next episode. Bye bye.